Thank you for staying tuned to Sunrise at Sea right here on CTV. And if ever you want to get in touch with us, all you have to do is interact with us across all platforms, and that's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And if you ever miss an episode of Sunrise at Sea, you can watch it again on YouTube. Welcome to Our Views. My name is Apollo Sarah, and today we are going to be having a conversation that has been debated since the beginning of time, ever since the women revolution and emancipation started way back in the 1800s. This debate has been going on and on and on. And in studio with me on the couch are the lovely ladies Sandra Kopp, Shivan Auma, and joining us again is Mrs. Patricia Mulumba. Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm so happy to see you. And well, she's a counselor and also author. Well, let's get right into it. But before we get into the topic of discussion today, I just want to define this. The term emancipation. A lot of you people have heard of this word being, thrown around here and there, but don't really understand what to be emancipated is or what emancipation means. Well, the term emancipation is often associated with the value of freedom. It implements freedom from legal, political, or social restrictions. It is equally a process which enables the powerless social groups to gain access and control of resources in a given society. So I asked the question today: has culture contributed to or hindered women emancipation? And we are talking about culture of vast regions and vast countries. And it's not just pertaining just here to Uganda, but Africa as a whole, or Europe, or the United States. We all know that this revolution of feminism did start in Europe, and that was in the 1800s, where women just wanted the right to be seen as human beings, not as property, not as slaves, not as objects, but they wanted to be seen as human beings. They wanted the right to vote, the right to go to work, the right to do more than just stay home, give birth, and nurture and take care of someone's son. So ladies, hey, we want to do more. I can do more than just taking care of another woman's son. She's transplanting him from this home into my home for me to take care of him. We can do more. We want to be doctors. We want to be pilots. And now we have seen women evolve economically, financially, socially, even culturally. Some culture norms and practices have been scraped, while some are still in the process of being scraped or rather regulated. So, ladies, has culture contributed to, or has it been the one hindrance against women emancipation?
It has. It has, absolutely. I would put my hand there and they even cut it. Like culture, diverse culture has definitely been the reason as to why women are not emancipated. I'll give an example. In cultures like Buganda, and recently I was surprised when I was having a conversation with my aunties. I'm half Sami, I'm half Kikuyu. And one of my aunties told me that, Shivan, as you're planning, when you're ready to get married, you'll have to, do what they call pulling, visiting the bush, pulling of the labia. And I said, why? And she told me...
Is that done in your culture?
It is not. So I don't know where it was coming from, because we don't do it in Samia, we don't do it in Kikuyu either.
Okay.
So I wonder why we're adopting it, yes? So she tells me, we're going to do the pulling, reason being is that the man needs to enjoy having sexual intercourse with you. And I said, wait a minute.
Hold on,
so
I have questions.
I am the one supposed to make this bedroom affair enjoyable.
Yes.
It is just me. How about the men also begin pulling as well?
Shivan,
because you see,
Shivan,
it is things like this that women are not emancipated, because now you're seen as a sex object. For a young girl at the age of 12, 13, 18, you're being told to visit the bush and pull, so that when you get married, the man is able to be satisfied and enjoy you. You're being literally put on table as a sex object, like you're the one supposed to make it enjoyable. So okay, while we are doing that, let the men also pull, because we also want to be enjoying this as well.
The question will be, what are the men going to pull? You're pulling the
what
are they going to pull?
We want bigger and longer.
But Shivan, I have a question. Your auntie that was telling you this,
Yes.
is she from that culture, or she's also a Samia?
She's from that culture.
Okay.
She's from the Buganda culture.
Okay.
She's from the Buganda culture.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
All right.
So, Shivan?
Yes,
Yeah,
Shivan.
Shivan. Before I chip in, I just want to understand, do you think that if a woman pulled, for example, she would not be considered, like equal to the man?
I do not think so. I do not think there is a reason as to why anyone should have to undergo that kind of situation unless you want to. I personally do not want to. If the reason behind it is that the man enjoys it, then I shouldn't be doing it, because it's supposed to be a two thing. It takes two to tango. So if it's going to reduce me, at the end of the day, all these cultural practices, the question is, why am I doing it? Why am I doing it? Most of the cultural practices that women have to undergo, most especially, are to please the men. So why am I doing it?
Oh, okay.
All right.
I would like to say that before we go into why or when did it start or for who we have to do certain things, I'd like to believe that it is important for us to understand where all these cultural norms start from. Why do the Bachiga do the things they do? Why do the Samyas do the things they do? Look at a culture, for example, where instead of elongating the labia, they cut it.
Yes.
And so this girl has to go through female genital mutilation. One culture is elongating for the man to enjoy, and another culture is cutting for the man to enjoy. So that is where the question would be, And as we argue, would be saying, okay, now men, can you sort your issues out? What exactly do you want when it comes to this particular department? Why would a woman's labia be cut for the man to enjoy? Because it is believed that once it is cut, she's not going to have the excitement. She's not going to enjoy the sex, and that means she's not going to be able to be unfaithful and sleep around.
Yes.
So that means that the men in such a culture, one, had selfish motives.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Now, when you come to cultures where the women elongate their labia for sexual pleasure, of course, there's a lot that the young girls are told so that they can do it. Maybe you'll not be able to give birth well. But when we grow up, we realize that elongation of the sexual labia benefits both the man and the woman. How? Probably as the man is maybe touching and playing with you, there's that excitement that you're getting and all the whole chemistry that surrounds that whole business. So while some people are cutting, the other people are elongating for that enjoyment. Then many times I ask, what does the Bible say? What? Because I want to believe that is the main authority.
Yes.
Like most of the things we do, we seek from what God says. Did the biblical times also have culture?
Yes.
Like, did they have cultural norms? We've seen that the children say the boys had to be circumcised, whereas someone will come and say no to circumcision. I want to believe that even Jesus Christ himself was circumcised.
He was. He was a Jew.
So I need to understand, why do these people do these things? What does God say about it? Truthfully, when we look at women emancipation and the fact that we want the woman to be equal to the man, what does the Bible say? Because I want to believe that God being the Alpha and Omega, being the ultimate being, truthfully, the Bible clearly shows that we were created from a man's rib. And it further states that the man is the head and you are simply the neck in the book of Proverbs. And it shows that together as husband and wife, we are going to have to raise this family.
Yes.
So it means that even as we have this campaign of women emancipation, we must accept that there are some things that we can do as men do, and there are other things that we cannot.
Yes.
For example, like being the head in the home. Whether you have the money or not, you will still be the neck in that home. That is something that we all must understand. We can't change it, whether we campaign or go on the streets and argue things out. we must understand that it's stated clearly. You come in as the deputy to this person. And once you understand that, there's a lot of peace you'll have. There are other things you can do. Yes. Can you be made CEO at work? Yes. Can you be made managing director? Yes. Can you perform like a man performs? Yes, you can. But when you come back home, say in the African setting, for example, because I am an African, I'm very proud to be African. I come from the Chiga people, and I'm married to a Muganda. There are things that you find in these cultures. Bachiga do certain things and Baganda do certain things. But when I understand that I'm getting into a home, for example, and the man is the head of the family, and the children I'm going to give birth are going to take on the clan. I come from the Obulunga clan.
Yes.
In the Baganda, I think call it Katimvuma. But the children I'm giving birth to are of Ngo clan. Even if I screamed and shouted on top of my voice because I want to be emancipated, I am never going to give birth to children, and these children are going to take on my clan, the Obulunga clan. They are going to go around as the children of the Ngo clan.
Yes.
When you look at families, people getting married, for example, you find that unless the two of you agree as husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, even when it comes to matters of faith, if you are a Catholic and you get married to a Muslim, chances are high your wedding and everything is going to take place in the mosque. Does that reduce your emancipation? Does it reduce your status quo? No, it doesn't.
Doesn't it
But
though?
Patricia,
Doesn't it
but
though?
Patricia, some women do feel like it does, and women are like, why do I always have to bend over backwards and adopt his culture, adopt his religion? At home, I am probably the one earning the most and probably the breadwinner of the house. Why is it that I still have to be submissive or be his neck, and yet I'm the one who is actually pulling in the heavy weight
My
in the
argument
family?
is the Bible says we should be.
But I would
That
like
is
to
my
ask, I would
issue.
like to ask, yes, you said the Bible says this, but we had this tradition way before the missionaries came in African traditional
The
society.
Bible says that.
But we had it
But
way
even-
before, and
even-
in some
even
African traditions,
traditions-
even in some African traditions, there are matriarchs. There are some matriarchs who are the head of the families. They are there not only in Africa, in India, in West Africa, in some islands of Africa.
Because that is the culture that they had.
Exactly.
That is
So
the
what
belief
I
that
am
they
saying
had.
is we should get to, I feel that if you tell especially the women of the millennials, if you tell them this, first of all, most of them, they do not know where they come from. They actually get to know their tradition when they are going for a kwanjula, an introduction. That's when they get to learn. So if you find this person who they have not instilled these cultural norms and values, and you're telling them, do this, they are not going to relate. And if you tell them, oh, the Bible says this, maybe they're not even very religious. They're spiritual. They're not religious. There's a difference. So I'm thinking that, yes, like what we were saying in Twitter Jabs, that cultural leaders have a responsibility to make sure that people understand, because it boils well back down. A people, this is all anthropology, study of humanity, of behavior and biology of humanity and culture and societies. It goes back way into time. And culture anthropology is the study of culture and its norms and beliefs, why people do what they do, to get to understand. And the only way that anthropologists do this culture anthropology is to get to live in these civilizations, in these societies, to be able to understand their culture in that context. Because only then will we have culture competence to be able to live in a multicultural society and be able to understand. For example, I would go to my sister's house, she's married to a Muganda, and I do understand when I am there, I am going to kneel for her mother-in-law, yes, because it's her mother-in-law. I don't necessarily kneel for my mother-in-law because she doesn't come from a culture of kneeling.
Yes.
So I just embrace her. And when she comes to my house, she embraces my mother-in-law. When I go to her house, I kneel for her mother-in-law, but I don't kneel for her husband. She kneels for her husband. I don't. So we just need to understand how different cultures work and respect them, but they should not be imposed on us. And I feel like, coming from an angle, the Bible says this. For me, I can't really resonate with that, and I feel that many people probably wouldn't. I think we should track back to way before the missionaries came, way before the Bible, to get to understand. I think that's a way in which people can resonate
yes,
with.
and I would agree. That's why I say it's important for us to understand. And I gave my angle, my understanding, and how I have been brought up and how I embrace things in my society and in my culture. My upbringing will ask me, for example, what does the Bible say? What does God say? So this is responsibility for everybody. The leaders in church, for those people who go to church, they'll have to understand why things are done the way they are done. When you look at even the culture of different churches, things are different. There are things that happen in certain churches that you'll question. But when you go there, you have to do as the Romans do. The question is, does that reduce? When you go to your sister's house and you kneel to greet your mother, to greet her mother-in-law, does that take away your personality? Does it reduce you to that culture? No, it does not. Yeah. It's a matter of understanding why this is in play. And also, I believe the truth, like you're asking, do I think it hinders, does the element of culture hinder women emancipation? I do not think it really hinders, because even people who are deep down in such cultures have been emancipated, and they are doing things that men are doing. They are going places that men are going to, and that doesn't take away anything.
But it depends which practice.
Just a minute. I like the fact that you mentioned the fact that, in the Bible it states that the man is the head of the family, and as a woman your role is to support. However, and be submissive. If as a man, you're not pulling your weight at home, if as a man, the only thing you do is to wake up in the morning, sleep, eat, and that is all that you're doing, repeat, on Monday to Monday, that is what you're doing, and I'm the one going out to look for the money, you cease to be the head of the family. What are you doing? Your role as a man is to provide. If I am making 6 figures, and you see, this is the thing about men, they will say, abakazi mujoga, when you start making more money, it's all in your mind. However, if you do not accept the fact that I am bringing the bread home, and you will still go ahead and, some men even reach the extent of saying, give me the money that you have made, so then you had better recognize that you have ceased to be the head of the family and have taken over that responsibility because you are dead weight.
This is what I have to say. And as a woman in that caliber who is able to provide for herself, why are you stooping low with a man who cannot pull his weight? I think that is also a question we need to ask ourselves as women. Just as we are stepping up to the plate now, why are we still lowering our standards to deal with men who cannot provide? So you are also part of that problem. Why are you putting yourself in a situation with a kind of man?
Yes.
Step out of that and find you a man who is going to be a leader and provider. Get a man on your level. Even when you ask for cultural emancipation.
Exactly.
I think we should also emancipate our minds and self-worth and standards.
Yes.
Like what Bob Marley said.
Yes.
We have to emancipate our minds out of this slavery. And I subscribe to the one who makes the financial decisions in the home is the head of the home.
Exactly.
The one who makes the financial decisions, the one who earns more, the one who pays, that person, if it's the man, yes, if it's the woman, she is the head of that
but
home.
I think that was was the idea with men being the head of the home, because even with the Bible, when Adam and Eve were kicked out of the garden, God said the man is going to till, is going to find land and provide for the family. You understand? And men those days were held accountable for that responsibility. You had to provide. That is where it comes from. But now it has been the lines have been blurred all over the place.
Cannot provide.
Exactly. So that's the question.
Why are we having men that cannot provide? Why are we having men that cannot provide?
That's a good question.
How has this boy been brought up? What was he seeing? What was happening in the home? So if this boy grew up in a home where the woman was providing and doing everything and the father was just seated and that means that this man is also going to grow up like that. So I think it zeroes back to us parents and in the different families. Can we try to see that we bring up children, especially sons, in a way, whether you're a father or a mother, it is combined effort to see that we bring the best out of these boys, out of these girls,
yes.
because many times the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And what is going to happen is these boys who get comfortable and play video games as the woman is going to work and bring the money and pay the rent and pay the bills probably have been seeing this. Two, there's a high level of laziness.
Yes.
I want to believe that if somebody knows, you know, that you are meant to be the head, and it has been emphasized that the man is the head, he should be a provider, he should be a protector, he should be a leader, he should be the head in all aspects of being a head, then this man is going to grow up fighting so hard to make sure that they can be the head. But if they get away with life easily, they can wake up and do whatever they are doing, that is how they are going to end up being a problem to their wives, and then causing a lot of discomfort in their homes. So the question goes back to all of us: how are we raising the children of today?
Yes.
How are we raising the boy child? In fact, I'm very happy that on Saturday we are going to have the ever first edition of a men's conference, so that we can talk about such issues at Hotel Africana. If people can come, if mothers can send their sons, if wives can send their husbands to come and listen to such information, then maybe they can learn. Some of them do not know.
That is true.
Some of them do not know. And even you find the girls have also been taught to be that kind of person. A girl who will toil and work hard, and what it means, there is a mindset element. She doesn't want to settle for less. She wants to have a good car. She wants to have a good house. And because of that, you're going to see her toiling and making sure she can provide, while the man is at home playing video games and watching Netflix. So the question is, everybody that is in a position of influence, can we talk about this boy child and see that they can reclaim their position? I want to believe that the reason why today the women are doing the things they are doing, and they're having the struggle and of wanting to be the heads now, is because probably even God is taking away this blessing from the men. God is taking away this blessing from the men. That is why he's empowering more women, because when he gives them such positions of growth and positions of influence, they misuse that particular blessing that they have. And for that reason, God is taking away the blessing from them. Does that change the fact that women emancipation is affected by culture? Does that change the fact that women emancipation is still not at the level we want it to be because of culture?
Yes.
My answer will still be yes.
Yes. So what are some of those cultural practices you think that are impeding women emancipation? And also, for my other question, I wanted to ask is that, don't you think that sometimes we are also taking the women emancipation out of context and now using it as a tool to, you know, reclaim and now oppress the other gender, as opposed to showing them that we just want to be equals?
That is quite true. But to go to your first question, back to your first question, what are the practices, some of the practices that impede women empowerment?
Yes.
And these cultural practices have, because they really govern the way we live, and they're making policies around them.
Yes.
And I would just like to highlight this. The law guaranteeing equal rights in marriage and divorce has been shelved for decades for fear it will destabilize families. Isn't this a clear depiction of culture's hindrance to women empowerment?
Yes.
It is so, because they're saying we can't have equal rights in marriage, yet we are supposed to all be equal in front of the Constitution. And also when it comes to agriculture, studies show that the gender productivity gap is partly due to gender gaps that exist in accessing and using agricultural inputs, especially land. Land is a key resource in agricultural production, and yet, according to Uganda Bureau of Standards, women own only 28%. So you have the land, you go and you till the land, you get the money because he's the head of the home and he's sitting there the whole day. And this happens in rural areas.
Playing
Ludo. You have to give him the money, then he decides how it's distributed.
Yes.
So he has this land, you only have access to it. You
Yes.
don't own the land. So, and we, like, you cannot, how do you break even really as this woman? She's working so hard. And then when it comes to our policies, this bill has not been passed because it will destabilize families. Is that equality really? Is that equity? Is that where we are at? Or we are just playing this dance and cat and mouse game?
Yes.
Yes, we sit down and we talk on panels about women empowerment, but what are we really doing when it boils down to it? Why don't we roll up our sleeves and do something by starting with passing bills like this?
Yes, absolutely. And what about you, Shivan?
There are two scenarios. One that I experienced firsthand. There's a time I was doing a project, a UCU project, we were doing research, and I went deep down in Karamoja. In that particular village where I went, in order for a woman to get married to a man, the man chases you. When he gets you, he rapes you from there. I'm calling it rape because it is rape, because you've not given consent. And then you become his wife. Now, this is clearly rape. There was a time I was doing a presentation and I was trying to gather up information. And in 2006, Center for Global Development made a report and said there's a time they went to Malawi. That was in 2006. And girls between the ages of 8 and 15, there is a ritual that they do which is cleansing, and it's called Kuchosta Fumbi. And how they do it is by when a girl clocks between the age of 8 and 15, in order for them to be cleansed and allowed into the world, they are supposed to have intercourse with a man. And it is also a way of having a clear skin. But after this particular lady had this, because there were sisters actually, one was 8 and the other one was 9. So that girl who was 9 went through, that whole scenario, went through the situation. 2 months down the road, her skin...
She had acne.
No, it wasn't even acne. It was a terrible skin disease that came from the fact that this man had slept with her and probably infected her.
Yes.
Not only was she being raped, she also got STIs and she was infected with HIV. But up to now, she keeps asking herself the question, why did I have to go through this practice? Why did my parents allow me to go through this practice? Do you see that when you look around, why would a man go ahead to rape a woman before you become his wife? These are some of the practices that are clearly not
and it's consensual
in regards
when you're
yes,
married.
exactly.
That's so unnecessary.
I watched this in broad daylight, and oh my God, I was in shock. And the people that I had gone to do the research with said, you cannot intervene because then you will be attacked. And it is normal. And actually, when they are being chased, other men and women are clapping, and that is in their culture. And I understand that I could respect that. However, not every girl wants to go through that. Not every girl wants to be raped under the disguise of we are cleansing you. You're cleansing me from what? Is it a generational curse? What is the problem? I need to understand where all this is coming from.
I think it's just okay. There's some cultural norms that really, like she was saying, need to
Be
be
revised.
revised.
Absolutely.
There are some cultural norms that need to be checked, and how does that come about is by asking the right questions. For example, what on earth
Are you cleansing?
is such a culture adding to this child? Of what value is it to that group of people? Of what value is it to the nation? Of what value is it to the church? Does God really approve of such cultures? There are certain cultures that you and I will agree are dead. They should be dead and buried. For example, that culture. And all this, like you realize, female genital mutilation is slowly and steadily dying out in our country.
Yes.
Because the right people asked the right questions and everybody was made aware of. I remember when I had just started teaching in one of the schools, I was handling the girls, court girls that had survived that the FGM.
Yes.
They were picked, those who had run away and had nowhere to stay because of that. Some of them, of course, had gone through the whole system and had a lot of issues. Maybe they were starting to rot and stuff like that. So they were brought to the school I was teaching in then, and would help to, gather them,
Yes.
gather their minds and show them that, okay, this is being done to you, but it is not right, and this is what we can do. Let's give you education instead of you doing that and that.
Yes.
And Honorable Erina Rutanje then even presented it in Parliament. And I remember the campaign went on, and today we think that people are aware of the effects, the negative effects of FGM, and it is something that many people are not subscribing to anymore. But if we ignore such things, if, for example, such an area has an MP, such an area has a leader who should bring such issues to broad daylight,
Yes.
so that people get to know. We've heard of cultures where the man stands on top of the roof and has to urinate on the girls that are below the roof, and people are cheering on. You know why they are cheering on? Because they went through it and they feel, the other people deserve to go through it. That's why you'll see the women are clapping as a little girl of 8 years is being defiled, is being raped, and someone is busy cheering on. Why? Because
they're traumatized.
they're hurt, and they feel everyone should go through it.
Yes.
But certain cultures can be erased.
Yes.
They can be erased for the sake of harmony and peace and solidarity in our country. I have a problem lately. I've been in spaces where some ladies will tell you, I can't believe this man is terrible. You imagine I'm the one who even paid my own bride price. And then that question also arises. If, for example, in a culture, in a certain culture, bride price must be brought, okay? I want to believe that bride price is a token of appreciation to the parents.
Yes, it is.
That is what it was meant to be,
yes.
until it was changed to something else.
Yes.
It became more of a showbiz, and then I'm made to understand that some of the things that are brought at a Kwanjula, for example, are picked the following day and taken back to the show.
Where they got them from.
Right.
And my question is, what is that?
Exactly.
If you paid your own bride price and you got into that marriage, will you be surprised that you're the one providing most of the things?
Exactly.
It still goes back to the aspect. You see, some people would argue and say, but that is my culture.
No,
some people would argue and say, it is my culture.
Shivan.
If you have an issue with it, go and deal with it.
Shivan, it is culture that the man brings the dowry, not you taking it. Well, this conversation can go on and on and on and on and on, but it continues on our social media handles. So please let us know, has culture contributed to, or has it hindered the emancipation of women? I would really love to hear from you. Well, from me and the ladies right here at Sunrise at Sea, thank you so much, Patricia, for joining us. This was very insightful, and I love that you brought so much objectivity and understanding to some of the culture norms in Uganda. And that's all we had for you. Until tomorrow, bye-bye.